I want to do something a little different with this video. I'd like to talk about what it's taken to lose 90 pounds and to keep it off. And I'll tell you, losing weight is the easy part. Keeping it off, that's hard. Some people may find this surprising, but it's not entirely about the food. Of course, you make changes in the way you eat, but the foundation of making those changes last begins here with mindset change. I think it's critical. I started dieting when I was 9, and I've lost weight and gained it back time after time after time. It wasn't until I made the mindset shift that I was able to make the dietary changes stick. I've put those mindset strategies into an e-booklet, 6 Strategies for Permanent Weight Loss, and you'll find the link to it in the description box where you can download it for free. So please check it out. I'll be talking about the food in a few minutes, but I want to talk about a few other things you need to keep in mind if you want to lose weight and keep it off. I didn't get here overnight. If I'd have just jumped from where I was eating 8 or 9 years ago to the way I am now, I would have made a huge effort, made a lot of changes all at once, and like any other diet I'd ever gone on, I'd have lost weight quickly and then fallen off the wagon and gained it right back. Keep your feet firmly on the path. You can't fall off the wagon if you're not on one. Make changes slowly. Let me give you an example. These days I snack on dry popcorn. If I go back to the beginning of this journey 8 years ago, I popped my popcorn in a paper bag in the microwave, just like I do now. But when it was done, I put a hunk of butter in a little dish and then melted that in the microwave and poured it over my popcorn. And of course, I used the salt shaker liberally. The first change I made, I switched to olive oil, although I just took the bottle and poured it on. Eventually, I started measuring both the salt and the olive oil and gradually reduced it over a period of several years until I could give both up completely. Now, I do put something on my popcorn, and I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. The final thing I'd like to say is I've had a number of friends comment on how restrictive my diet is. And in fact, I actually got an email recently from someone who watched one of my videos and wrote me this long diatribe about how I shouldn't be promoting this restrictive diet. So I'm letting you know what works for me. And I'll tell you, it's liberating. I've managed to break the food seduction. And any diet will ultimately feel restrictive unless you do the mindset work that goes with it. So again, you'll find a link in the description box to my 6 strategies for permanent weight loss. Now, onto the kitchen. The first thing I do in the morning while I'm making my coffee is I cold brew a glass of green tea. And I simply put the tea bag into a 24-ounce mason jar and pour water over it. And I let it sit, and by noon I have green tea, and then I'll sip on it the rest of the day. Here's breakfast. I have a small dish of oats. It's probably about 2/3 of a cup that I've covered in another video, and my favorite smoothie. I feel like the smoothie might be enough, but I added the oats because I feel like it's just a little too much liquid. This is a 24-ounce cup, and all that liquid sloshing around in my stomach, I need something to absorb it. So here's breakfast. The other thing I'm doing is that in preparation for lunch, I've pulled a container of black beans out of the freezer. So I'm going to let them thaw. If I didn't have beans in the freezer, I'd just open a can. But I happen to have them, so I pulled them out. Now it's time for lunch. And what I've done is I've made up a bowl of my unfried beans, and I have some of my roasted veggies. I do enough for at least 4 to 5 days. So, and my green tea is ready, and I'll be sipping that as the day goes on. So, I also have a container of whole grains that I always have in the fridge, and this is whole barley, spelt, berries, and whole rye. So I'm guessing I don't practice any portion control, so I'm guessing that's probably about a cup of whole grain. Obviously, I've made more beans than I'm going to eat. Take a good spoonful. Half? Nah, not quite half. This looks like enough. When I make these vegetables, I put them in a quart container, and usually I'm only making lunch for myself. My husband didn't want lunch today, so he didn't want the lunch I was making today. So I usually, half is for me, half is for him. So this would be roughly 2 cups of veggies. But since he's not eating any, maybe I'll have a few more. And this is broccoli, cauliflower, peppers, onions, and mushrooms. And finally, I am going to add some diced tomatoes. And these are canned. In the summer, it would be fresh. Let's just finish what's in this can. So here's lunch. I'll just heat it up in the microwave. And it took me about 7 or 8 minutes to put it together. Snacking usually depends how hungry I am. I don't always have a snack every day. It depends how active I've been. And usually my snacks are either a multigrain, a Wausau crisp bread with some hummus, or popcorn that I talked about in the introduction. And popcorn, I just pop it with a paper bag in the microwave, and I use the same paper bag over and over and over again, and really just take take a quarter cup of popcorn and put it in the paper bag and stick it in the microwave for a few minutes. And here we have popcorn. 2 things that I like on my popcorn are nutritional yeast, and the other thing is Benson's Table Tasty. I think that Table Tasty is the absolute best salt substitute available. It doesn't have a chemically taste and really does give that little bit of saltiness that makes popcorn oh so good. So, lovely afternoon snack. Lentil soup is on the menu for dinner tonight. And dinner is usually either a large salad or a soup. Depends on the weather. And tonight it's a little cooler, so I'm going to have soup. I made it in the Instant Pot. And generally I will have 2 bowls that size. So that's typical of what I eat in a day. Satisfying with no portion control needed. I'm never hungry and don't feel deprived. In fact, I feel liberated. As I said in the intro, I've broken the food seduction. And I'll talk more about what that means in future videos. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. The description box has a link to my ebook, as well as links to all the recipes that I've mentioned in this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you click on the bell, you'll get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.